All right. Welcome, everybody. Again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience while we let everyone sign in. My name is Jessie Wachter. I'm a Global Programs Advisor. I was formerly the Director of our Tanzania operations for several years, and I've run programs in Mongolia and Fiji, in Tanzania and India, New Orleans. I'm going to Morocco next month. So I've been all over the place, and I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions as we go through this and after the presentation as well. I am being joined by the incomparable Maggie Lenz. She's also a Global Programs Advisor. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, y'all. My name is Maggie Lentz. Like Jesse, I am lucky to work with Rustic Pathways and have done so sort of all over as well. I was the Fiji country manager for years and then have spent the majority of the rest of my time between Australia and New Zealand, but just recently was in Thailand and Cambodia with Rustic and will be headed to Dominican Republic next month. So so happy to be spending the evening with y'all.
Great, thanks, Mags. A quick note about tonight's session. You see that there is an area for you to write questions. Please, we absolutely encourage you to write questions as we go. Maggie is going to be behind the scenes answering those questions as she can in the text box, and then she'll interject as well, and we'll do some questions out loud as they apply to the presentation. We are going to reserve a lot of the questions for the end of the program because we will have a live question and answer session once we complete the presentation for those of you that are on a short schedule. So we will not be addressing program-specific questions in this presentation. So if you're tuning in to ask how many girls and how many boys are on our Intro to Community Service program July 12th, we won't be addressing that today or during this presentation, but we can absolutely answer those questions afterwards. Go ahead and write those questions in. We can send an email to you after the presentation. We can also give you our contact details, and you can give us a call tomorrow so we can go through those types of more detailed questions. We have a whole team of global program advisors just anxiously awaiting your questions. So again, we'll give you that contact information, and we can go through that after the presentation. As a quick tip, though, if you are using the website, on every single program page, there's going to be the sessions listed to the right side, and it's going to be color-coded. It's going to let you know if the session is available, which means it has plenty of space, if it's limited, very limited, or sold out. And limited, just so you guys know, means typically 3 to 5 spots left. Very limited is going to be 1 to 2 spots left, and then of course sold out. So that'll help you read those session availabilities when you're going through the website.
And a note on session availabilities, if you see a program that still has tons of availability, that is not a red flag by any means. A lot of times, our program capacities can change based on a number of reasons. Sometimes it's literally beds and the community center where we're staying. Sometimes it's things like not wanting to overwhelm the projects that we're working on or sort of our community relationships. So do not let that be a red flag because often there are already students signed up for those sessions as well.
Yep. Yeah, great. So for those of you that are new to Rustic Pathways, we've been in operation for about 33 years now. We began in Australia, we spread out into the South Pacific, Southeast Asia, and now we are in 19 different countries. And we have almost 100 programs, which can be a little bit overwhelming. We understand completely. I don't know how students choose. I want to go everywhere. And we feel like a lot of students feel the same way. So this is why we've put this presentation together, hopefully to give you a good foundation and a good basis to start making the right decision and find the program that's the best fit for you. This year, we have 12 brand new programs for 2016. You can actually see those programs highlighted on the website. And we have one brand new country, which we're very, very excited about. We've got 2 incredible programs in Cuba this year. So very exciting. So now for the presentation that you have tuned in for, the key to choosing the best program is to ask yourself the following 5 questions. First question is, how far away do you want to travel? This is a great place to start for students and for families, for parents, especially if you're concerned about students traveling so far away from home for their first trip abroad or their first trip abroad, at least without their parents. We have programs in Latin America, which are closer to home. We have programs in America, the domestic programs that are much closer to home. Some students are ready to take that leap and they want to go to Southeast Asia, they want to go to Australia. So one thing to take a look at is how far are you willing to travel? Are you ready for that really long flight? Would you prefer to stick a little bit closer to home, especially for first-time travelers? Or perhaps you're a senior in high school and this is going to be your trip to yourself, your reward after 4 hard, long years of school. And you want to try something a little bit more daring or more adventurous and go to Mongolia or go to Africa. So that's the first question to ask yourself is, where do you fall in your comfort zone? How far would you like to travel for this trip? And the next question is, how far do I want to push my boundaries?
So there are a few pieces that you'll want to think about when you're thinking about how far you want to push your boundaries. One of those being sort of what kind of accommodation are you going to be comfortable with? We have trips that range from staying in 4- and 5-star hotels to staying with homestays in villages without electricity where you're bathing in the river. So, really take some time to do a little self-reflection and determine what you are comfortable with and sort of how far you want to step outside of that comfort zone. We do find that a lot of growth happens when students are pushed outside of what they're used to. That really pushing yourself and also sort of maintaining a lifestyle that still means that you as the student can be engaged and can sleep through the night comfortably and all those pieces that mean that you get to wake up and have a great next day. So that's one thing to consider. We have a lot of Rustic Pathways base houses around the world. So in Costa Rica, Australia, Fiji, Thailand, United States, we have base houses which are sort of Rustic Pathways operated, so almost like camps to a degree. They're usually very social and can accommodate a lot of students, but they are very comfortable and often a good starting place for first-time travelers who are maybe not yet ready to be tenting on a beach or up in the mountains. So that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, exactly. That was great, Meg. And those are the kinds of questions. If you give us a call or if you send us an email, which again we'll give you that information, we can answer down to the detail. Where are the students staying? How much are they staying in a homestay? Are they camping? Are they staying in hotels or guest houses? Every single program is going to vary. Rustic Pathways really prides ourselves on offering programs that fit every single student. That's why we've got almost 100 to choose from. And really we can narrow it down to the details as to the type of food, the type of accommodations, how much travel. Are they staying in one place? Are they performing service work in one area? Are they moving around one country? Are they moving around multiple countries? There's a vast range of programs, and the variables range quite a bit. So the next question number 3 is, what do I want to experience? And again, we have a vast range of programs here at Rustic Pathways. We've got community service programs. 75 to 80% of what Rustic Pathways does is community service programs. At least it has a community service element to the program. So we have programs that do involve adventure, cultural immersion, education, community service, a little bit of everything. E is oftentimes the most popular answer. Students want to experience everything, but some students purely want an education program. We have language immersion programs. We have photography programs where students can perfect their portfolio. They can learn how to use their cameras in manual mode. And we even have programs for students that are interested in the medical field, learning medical certification, and they can earn their WFA or WFR medical certification, which is a fantastic program in both Thailand and the Dominican Republic. So if the student is looking for a particular type of skill to improve their skill level, or they want to focus on community service with different types of communities, all of our programs are going to have some sort of cultural immersion aspect to them. And then, of course, the pure adventure, which you see the picture behind here on the screen, is students that are hiking Kilimanjaro, which is an amazing program. in and of itself in Tanzania. So that's another thing to consider when you're trying to find the best fit program. And then what kind of service work, if any, would be the most rewarding? So again, most of our programs at Rustic Pathways do have some sort of community service element to them. And we've focused on 5 main types of community service. Education. This is going to be working primarily with students, with young kids, but also with adults. We have computer education courses for adults that our students participate in, a number of different educational based service projects around the world. A very popular option for our students. B is infrastructure development. So this can be anything from irrigation projects in certain parts of the world to building schools, building staff housing for primary school. It's going to be construction and also, like I said, irrigation and projects such as that. C, animal conservation programs. We have animal conservation programs in most regions of the world. We work with elephants, we work with pandas, we work with turtles. We have a safari program in Africa. We have a bear program, a dancing bear program in India. We work actually with a number of different animal conservation centers, with rangers, and with amazing projects around the world. So for students that have a genuine interest in working with animals, we have something for them. D is environmental conservation programs. This kind of falls in with our marine programs. Oftentimes we do tree planting, projects like that. And then E is public health and social development. These are programs such as our public health program in DR. Again, this tends to attract students that are interested in the medical field when they go on with their future studies. We really have a lot of different projects. We work with a lot of different partners all around the world. We're invested locally in all of these countries in which we operate. So please give us a call if you're looking for a particular type of experience or type of service work. That'll help us narrow down the program that's the best fit for you. Another question to ask is, do I have any travel restrictions? So this is going to be if you have allergies, for example, if you have any recent injuries, if you have recently torn your ACL, it's probably not best to take on a climb of Mount Kilimanjaro. We do have, for example, in Thailand, it's very difficult to avoid peanuts. It's a very large part of their diet there. And in certain places, we do have our own chefs and our own cooks, but peanuts is something that is very difficult to avoid. And so we do restrict those that have severe peanut allergies to travel within Thailand. If you have anything that you think may restrict you from a particular region or a particular type of experience, that's another thing to consider when trying to find the best fit program. So what are some common questions? I'm sure we have a lot of questions from those of you that have tuned in. Again, we're going to have a live question and answer session at the end of this, but we want to go over a few of the questions that we get every single day, and hopefully we can cover those for you. Hey, Maggie, what are some of our most popular programs?
That really, I suppose, depends on who's asking the question, Jesse. All of our programs are, tried and tested. Many of them we've been running for 20, 25, 30 years at this point. So they are popular programs for a reason, and all of them have, there's a reason that we're offering them. In terms of what makes the best program a fit for you or your son or daughter, that is really a bit of self-reflection. So the program that you may feel is the best fit for you could be one that is very different for somebody else. So when you're thinking about what are the most popular programs, we really actually suggest going back and walking through those 5 questions to sort of land it more so what is the right program for you.
Perfect. Are there programs that you recommend for first-time travelers? This is a question we get quite a bit. The students, we have programs actually starting at the age of 12. We have a program called Young Explorers for 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. And then a lot of our programs are 14 to 18-year-olds. and some of them are 15 or 16 and up. But the primary programs that we offer are 14 to 18 high school age students. And a lot of the students are just starting out. Maybe you have done some traveling before with your family, but this is going to be your first trip abroad without your parents, and you want to find a best fit program. You don't want to be with a lot of older students or students that have traveled all over, and this is your first trip. So we do have some programs that are great for first-time travelers. Again, like Maggie said, it's going to be based on your interests, but something like our Introduction to Community Service, this is a program that we offer in Costa Rica, in Fiji, and in Thailand. Very popular program. We run it it's the same model in 3 different countries because it is so popular. And this allows students to be introduced to a number of different types of service and a number of different projects within the same program. There's certainly going to be some adventure activities, always cultural immersion, like I said, but throughout the program, they're actually going to get to participate in several different projects so they can really be exposed to different types of service, and that will help them moving forward to decide if they actually really do prefer working with kids or they really loved that construction or working with their hands and seeing something built before their eyes. It's a great place to start for students, like I said, to help guide them in their future decision making. We have some other suggestions for you as well. If this is one of your questions, please let us know and we can walk through some more first-time traveler programs. So another question we get, again, it's similar to the previous question. I am 14 years old, and how can I ensure that I'll be traveling with students my own age? Or vice versa, we've got a senior, they want to go on a program, but they don't want to be stuck with a bunch of younger students. This is something that has sort of a twofold answer. First and foremost, like I said, most of our programs are open to 14 to 18-year-olds, and there's almost always going to be a mix of students, except in the case of our Young Explorers program that is specifically 12 to 14. And then some of the programs like 16 to 18 will be excellent for those that are really concerned about being only with their age group. But in the case of a lot of our programs, there's going to be a mix of students. And what I usually tell parents is that if you're a 14 or 15-year-old, you're going to learn a lot from those students that are older from you. We understand that these students are at different points in their schooling and different points of their development, but they are going to learn a lot from the older students, and vice versa. The older students get to be teachers. And so if you really are concerned with the age group, absolutely give us a call. We are more than happy to look at the programs in which you're interested in. We can look at the specific dates in which you're interested, and we can let you know if there's going to be other students your age and if there's primarily one age group over the other. Not a problem.
A note on that, Jess, I'll just jump in, is that Jesse and I, probably between us, have run 100+ programs over the years, and I don't want to speak for you, Jesse, but I think we would probably both say that we notice so much in actually running programs when we're on the ground with students that age difference actually has so much less to do with sort of the experience of the trip than it may sort of in a school setting. I find that, you know, pulling students out of their typical comfort zones or with their social circles or their friend groups, travel sort of makes the group, it's the great equalizer. So, you know, sometimes you'll have a 14-year-old girl who can hang with, you know, the village chief, and the 18-year-old girl who is so well-spoken and confident in school, but has to be a little bit more reserved when she's a bit out of her comfort zone. So on that, again, like Jesse said, we are more than happy to walk you through any of those sort of breakdowns in certain session programs, but it has less to do on the ground with happy trips than I think people fear it does.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Maggie. And I think we've found that when you're outside of the school setting, you don't have the title of freshman or sophomore or junior. Of course, that'll come out as the trip unfolds. But when you're just traveling together, like Maggie said, I think you don't see that as much as you do in a school setting. And then what is the average gender ratio for these programs? So great question. Company-wide, we are about 60-40, 70-30, depending on the year. It just seems as though we have more female students that are interested in service programs. It just always ends up to be that way, but every program and every session of every program is going to be different. We can look at one particular program that runs all summer, and there's going to be some sessions that are closer to 50-50. Some sessions have more boys than females. So it really does come down to that specific session and that program in general as well. So feel free to give us a call and find out how your program stands in that. Okay, so those are the most common questions. Again, we're going to have a lot more time for some questions. The next question is, how do I sign up? So once you are able to narrow down the programs, once you give us a call and we go through the different options and we look at the sessions and really find where your student fits, or if you're a student tuning in, where you fit best, the only way to sign up is actually online. There's going to be a button in your top right-hand corner that says Enroll Now. You'll click there, you'll fill out the application. That will be sent into our main office, and within a couple days it will be processed, and you will be paired with one of our amazing personal travel advisors. There's a picture of them just hanging out enjoying the winter sunshine. They are absolutely amazing. They're going to be your new best friend leading up into the departure. They are there to help you fill out forms, to answer questions about flights, to answer questions about packing lists, really anything that you can possibly think of. And there will be a lot of questions that come up throughout the way. They are there for you, and you will have direct access to them, like I said, leading up into the departure. And that is our presentation. Those are the 5 main questions. We went through this pretty quickly so that we'd have time for everyone to ask their questions. We really hope this has been helpful, and we are here for you. So please feel free to post your questions there in the questions and answers boxes, and we will answer them now. Maggie, do you have any good questions for us?
Let me take a look. Let's see. Here's a good one. Someone has asked, I live in Australia, so talking over the phone might become very expensive. Is there any other way we could talk? Yes, absolutely. We have a chat function on our website, and so we operate that throughout the working day, so from about 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be on a chat function, and so you can just click on any page in the bottom right-hand corner of the website. There'll be a little sort of orangey gold bit that will say chat with us now, and so you can pop that up and we will be able to answer any questions you have that way as well. So if you live outside of the country and don't want to give us a call, that's an option.
Yep, and we also have our email addresses there on the page there in front of you, so please feel free to send us an email directly. There's also, I didn't mention this, but there's also a link to a file there on the screen. If you type in that HTTP address, and we were trying to get that to be a clickable link on your screen, but at this point, if you can just copy and paste that into the URL, that'll actually take you to a PDF that is very similar to this presentation. It'll remind you of the 5 questions to ask, and it'll give you actually some program suggestions for each. So if you can copy that down and then access that, that's also super helpful. And this session is being recorded. So if at any point you want to refer your friend or you want to refer back to something that we've said, we will be sending this out, or you can also give us a call and we can direct you to where that recording is going to be up on our website.
I have a good couple questions, Jessie. One of them is asking if they are coming from outside of the U.S. or outside of North America, how would one meet up with the group? So if, again, you live outside of North America, what you would do is in conjunction with your personal travel advisor, again, those lovely people enjoying the winter sunshine, we'll sort of set up a window of time that you can arrive in the country destination where your program is going to happen. And so that window of time will be around the same time that the group flight will be flying over from the U.S. so that you can sort of hit the ground running and link in with your group as the program starts.
Perfect.
Let me just read through others of these.
Looks like I see a question that says, how advanced is the community service in New Orleans summer program? That's a great question. So it's not necessarily that it's advanced. Certain service projects will be a little bit more intense. I think all students will be able to do whatever service project that they've registered for. In New Orleans specifically, just to give everyone a taste of what we do, this is a program that's been around since Katrina. It's definitely one of our more popular programs worldwide. And it is a domestic program as well, so it's a great place to start. It takes students into depth into New Orleans. They actually will learn about the destruction that took place after Katrina, but they'll also learn about a lot of different uh, issues that are facing New Orleans, including wetland restoration, because the wetlands are receding there in New Orleans, and they'll learn a lot about the culture there. There's a very, very unique culture. It's actually one of my personal favorite cities. So the students get a really well-rounded experience, not only on a couple different service projects within the city, but learning about the city's history and the vibrant culture there.
Here's a good question. Do advisors or the program leaders, this question is from Delaney, thanks Delaney, travel with the group on the way to the final destination? So yes, if you are flying from within North America, you'll be on one of our group flights, and so those flights are chaperoned by Rustic Pathways flight leaders. So once you or your student gets to the departure hub airport. So those airports vary based on country destination. For example, if you're flying to Costa Rica, you can choose to either meet in Newark or in Houston. And so once you get to Newark or Houston, you'll need to be able to find your way from your domestic gate, as we don't have the clearance to be able to go pick up every student at their domestic gate, but to get to the group meeting point, the check-in, which will send you that information before your trip, and you'll meet there with your flight leader chaperone. So once you get to those departure airports, you'll be supervised on your flight down, help get through customs and immigration, and you'll have a staff with you to help with bags and all that jazz. So those flights will be chaperoned.
Yep, and I see a question here about how early do we have to sign up? That's a great question. If you look at our website right now, we actually have a number of programs that are already sold out. We do have an early registration season, which takes place mid-August to mid-September, and a lot of the most popular programs, students will snap up those spots really early. Most of our programs still have sessions that are available, so it really is just based on space available. Technically, you have until about 10 days or so to sign up for a program. That being said, it is also based on whether you can still get on a flight to the program, and you will be on full speed ahead to fill out all of your forms and documents to get you ready to go. So we highly, highly recommend you don't wait until 10 days before departure. We do have a late registration season deadline coming up, and that's going to be sometime in late February or early March. I'll get you that date. Our application fee will be going up. Right now, as a new student, the registration fee is $100, and it will go up after that deadline coming up in February or March. And that's something to be aware of. But other than that, it's based on space available.
I see a question here asking if most students come with a friend or a sibling or someone that they know. We absolutely do have students that come with a friend or some kind of sibling or cousin, but it is definitely not the majority. In my experience, at least, Jesse, you may have a different opinion, but I would say it's probably around 30% of a trip will have students who have come with someone else, but by far the majority are coming on their own.
Yeah, that's another great question that we get all the time. It probably deserves its own slide. A lot of students and a lot of parents as well are concerned that there's going to be big groups of students and that their student will be the only one signed up on their own, and that simply isn't the case. The vast majority of students do come on their own and will be in exactly the same situation. And in fact, in my experience running trips, I'm actually have no idea who knew each other and didn't know each other when they've landed, because just in the time it took for them to fly from the States to their international destination, they've made new friends and they've already bonded. So that's not shouldn't be a concern of yours at all. You'll definitely make friends, and you won't be the only one out.
I see a question here from Dawn. Do we offer a specific service award, or how do we give recognition for service hours? So once your son or daughter, or once a trip is completed, at the end of the summer, from your personal travel advisor, you'll get a community service certificate, which will mark the hours, or will note the hours of service that you've done, as well as briefly describe the service projects that you've worked on. So every student who does a service trip will get that. We are also, here throughout the year, so if you need us to sign National Honor Society service form in March, that's something that luckily that relationship with your personal travel advisor is still alive and well even after the summer, so we'll still be able to help out with things like that throughout the school year if you need.
Yeah, and I've got a question about how much is each trip. So our website is the ultimate resource. If you go onto any country page, if you find the drop-down menu that says Find Programs, select a country, they'll have thumbnails for each program, and underneath each thumbnail will have the pertinent information. It'll have the cost of the program, the duration, the age range, and it also have airfare information as well. So you can click on that. It'll say plus airfare or anticipated airfare, and you can click on that and it'll take you to our travel resource page for more information on which airline we're using and all of that that's included into our flights. Every program is going to be a little bit different. I would say the prices range from about $1,800 to up to about $4,900, I'd say, Maggie. But there really is everything in between, depending on how long you're away. If it's a 3-week program, of course, it's going to cost more than a 1-week program closer to home.
Here's a question: what is the refund policy if we need to cancel after registering? This will sort of answer actually probably a lot of questions for people. Our website is pretty well developed, and you'll see at the top of every Pathways and then Find Programs resources with drop-down menus. So under resources, there's a frequently asked questions page. This page is wonderful. It'll sort of go through general questions, sort of questions both that you might have before departure, visas, safety, insurance, all those kind of things, and then there'll be an administrative questions section that will answer questions like, can I pay by credit card, payment plans, and then what if I want to change or cancel programs? So that'll lead you to our cancellation policy, as well as if you needed to change or make a change request for your trip. So the frequently asked questions page is your friend as you are sort of thinking through summer travel.
I see a question about cell phones. It's a great question. In fact, all technology, this is something that Rustic Pathways feels very strongly about. We actually have a couple blog posts that are excellent resources for both students and parents. We've got one for each for you to read through that I'm more than happy, if you let me know, I can forward those on to you. Essentially, we don't have a rule against cell phones. That being said, and a lot of students do bring cell phones for the beginning and end to meet up with their family when they return to the United States. That being said, we really heavily encourage students to be as disconnected as possible. Rustic Pathways will be in touch with you as parents. We will absolutely send you an email upon arrival when the students land to make sure that you know that they've landed safely. We'll also be in touch throughout the trip to let you know, send you some updates and send pictures if possible. But we do really love to have the students as immersed into the program as possible and as disconnected from their devices. These days, it's just impossible to get away from smartphones and laptops and iPads and things like that. And this is their opportunity to really get out of that comfort zone, get out of the box, and be really immersed and in that location at that time. So we don't disallow, but depending on the country and the program, students will have either limited access to send a few messages home, or sometimes not much access at all. For example, a rural program in Tanzania, there's not going to be any electricity or Wi-Fi, in which case you'll just get the updates from our staff.
I've got a question here about fundraising, which sort of we can talk about scholarships as well. We do offer service scholarships for students in the U.S. or in North America as well as outside North America. So again, under that resources tab online, if you sort of hover over that, you'll see a link to financial aid. So that'll walk you through our service scholarships and our ambassador scholarships for students outside of the U.S., as well as gap year scholarships. And we have something called the Teacher Appreciation Program, which just gives discounts to any child of someone who gets their full-time paycheck from an educational institution. So those are sort of options that you should explore, and please feel free to apply for a scholarship. That deadline is coming up relatively quickly here on March 4th, so that's something to think about. We also have on that same financial aid page a really great fundraising guide. So it'll link you to a PDF that will walk through sort of options and ideas to start thinking about raising money for your trip.
And I do want to make a quick note as well, back on the communication. If it sounds crazy to send your student away for 2 to 3 weeks and not have contact with them, never fear. We actually do, I wanted to make another note, that we have a 24-hour, 7 days a week emergency hotline. You can reach us at any time. If there's any reason that you need to get in touch with your student, if it's a non-emergency, you can always give us a call on regular business hours. You can contact your PTA. But if there is an emergency, never fear. We do have that link, and we can patch you through to your student if you need to. See, I've got a question about the usual group size for Costa Rica. Just worldwide, again, our programs really vary. I usually say the average group size for any program is 12 to 15 students. But as Maggie mentioned, some of our programs that run out of our base houses that Rustic Pathways owns and operates, they have space for more students, so they could be up to 25 or 26 students. I would say that's about our maximum size. Some programs max out at 10. For example, our zoo program in Australia, we work with a partner with the zoo there that only allows us to take a certain number of students, in this case 10. So it really varies, but the average is about 12 to 15 students. And I just want to let you know as we get on pushing up to the hour, any other questions that we don't answer during this vocal session, we will be following up via email. So just go ahead and put those in there if you need to log out. Thank you again so much for joining us. We're going to stay on for a little while longer and answer questions, but if you do need to pop off, feel free to type those questions in and we will get to you.
I see a question here about our staff to student ratio. Across any and all Rustic Pathways program, we will have the maximum or the sort of far end staff to student ratio is 1 staff to 7 students. Usually it ends up being a little bit less than that, 1 staff to 5 or 6 students, sometimes 5.4 students if we're splitting hairs, but that is our staff to student ratio.
I see a question here about ordering a catalog. Excellent question. I'm so glad you brought that up. We actually have a number of different ways for you to follow up this presentation. So if you would like to order a catalog, which is a great way to have all your programs right in front of you and not be staring at a screen, our website does have more comprehensive information, day-to-day itineraries, photos, FAQs, as Maggie mentioned, packing lists. But the catalog is a great way to kind of flip through, earmark some of the programs that you think are a good fit. We can also absolutely connect you with references. We have hundreds of families that have offered to be references from us for us from last year. So if there's a particular program or a particular region, country that you'd like to connect with another family, we're more than happy to do that. And you can also, on any of the program pages, once you narrow down the options and you like to know a little bit more, you can either give us a call or there's actually a form right there on the website that says ask for more information, where we have our global program advisors on the other end anxiously awaiting to answer those questions for you. Oh, and one more thing, we can also arrange home visits. So we actually have staff throughout the country, and we actually have staff in Asia and Europe as well. that are more than happy to stop by. They can either stop by your home if that's more convenient, or that you can meet at a coffee shop, whichever you prefer. You can kind of put a face to the company, meet us in person, get all of your questions answered. It's a great way for families to feel a little bit more comfortable and confident that you're sending your student away with real human beings, and also just get all those questions answered face to face. So that's also a great way. And there's a button right there on the website that on the top that lets you request a home visit.
Sort of to tag along with that as well, Jess, there'll be coming up over the next few months, sort of from February through April, we'll be hosting open houses in a lot of the larger American cities. So we'll publicize them on our website, but these open houses are, again, a good way to come meet us, meet students who have traveled with Rustic Pathways in the past. And if you are not in sort of, a larger metropolis, you, again, can request a home visit, or you can also ask us. This is something that you are more than welcome to call us in about, or email us, but we can also send you references from summer 2015 for the program you're interested in. So if you'd like to speak with a family that traveled on this program that you're interested in from last summer, we are happy to share that with you.
Awesome. Yeah, those open houses are actually hosted by families of alumni. So it's a great way, like Maggie said, to not only meet us, but meet families that are looking to travel, and also families that have traveled with us previously. Kind of get all in one. I see it looks like we do have a question about multiple students. If you're a family with multiple students that want to travel with us, we don't have a discount for sending multiple students. We do, however, in the fall, once your student travels with us once, you become an alumnus, and we have an absolutely amazing program. Like I mentioned earlier, mid-August to mid-September, we have our early registration period, in which alumni can receive up to 50% off of program costs. So that's something to keep in mind. Once you are in this summer, keep an idea of which programs you'd like to do for the following years, and you can take advantage of that drastic discount. And we do have a family and friends discount that runs during that same period that you can then refer your friends and family, and they do get a discount. But that all takes place in early fall. I think we've got time for a few more questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. Looks like we've got quite a few people here that are still here for the questions. Any other questions, please send them in. And
here's one on allergies. So Abby's asking, I have sort of varied allergies. Which countries should I stay away from? That is a question that we'll want to answer on sort of a case-by-case basis. So that's a question, or if you have a specific medical condition, that's something that if you could call in to us or email us directly, then we can sort of discuss what might be a good fit for you. In terms, that's the process of making sure we find something right for you is a bit time consuming, but we will find an answer. So part of that is also, checking with our country directors and making sure that they feel like we can keep you safe and accommodate those allergies. So that really is on a case-by-case basis.
And just to make a note about what Maggie said about the open houses, they will be located on our website. I don't believe they're up yet. We don't have the full schedule. But on our website, under About, there's a section at the top. You click About, and it'll be a drop-down menu, and there will be a section for events. And I can send that out in an email as well. But it will be on our events page, and those should be up very shortly as soon as we get that schedule solidified. And there definitely will be one in the New York area, and there also definitely will be at least one in New York and at least one in the Los Angeles area. I see a couple questions about those, but many more as well. And again, it looks like there's quite a few questions about flights. On that travel resource page on the website, you'll be able to tell which airline we use. We use different airlines for different countries, also different hub airports. So students are responsible for their domestic travel to that hub airport. For Costa Rica, for example, we can fly either from Newark or from Houston. You'll join your group there, and then you'll fly down as a chaperoned group together. It's a very seamless process. Rustic Pathways will purchase the tickets, the international tickets for you, and then we'll send you that information via your personal travel advisor. Also, we will help you with visas. We partner with a company, an organization that will help you determine if you need a visa in advance and how you go about applying for that visa. Most of the countries in which we operate do not require visas beforehand, but there are a few, including Ghana, India, China, etc., that we will let you know and help you with that process.
I see a question about packing lists. This is packing lists will be so for our nearly 100 programs that we're offering this summer. Each program will have a packing list specifically for that program on the program page. So on the program page for each program, you'll be able to find the cost, flight information, dates, availability, photos from the program. Oftentimes a video will also accompany that. A map of where the program visits, as well as an itinerary, frequently asked questions specific to that program, and finally a packing list. So the website is absolutely your friend here, but all of those packing lists will already be up and online.
I have a question here about homestays, and there are a few programs that we do offer that will include a homestay. Not so many, but there are a few in a couple different countries, and it's going to vary. So I will definitely send you an email about the homestay. If a student is uncomfortable staying at a homestay, I would recommend choosing a program that doesn't have that aspect. Typically, we do not have a separate facility or separate building. But for those programs that do have homestays, the students are never alone. They're typically in groups of 2 to 3 and sometimes larger if it's a group setting. So never alone. And these are families that we have vetted ourselves. We've worked with for many, many years, especially in the case of Costa Rica. Our language programs do stay in a homestay. And my experience has been that this is one of the highlights of the trip. They are able to converse with the locals. They get that aspect of living within a family and being able to practice their Spanish. And these families, like I said, we've worked with them for sometimes 10 years. And they're just the most amazing people. They really are the highlight for a lot of the students.
Speaking from personal experience in Fiji, our Highlands and Islands Service Immersion program, which is probably, if I had to pick, probably my favorite program. The homestay families that we use in the village of Nisibikoso, where students have a homestay, we've used for more than 20 years. So, it's a village of about 600 people, takes up nearly 2 football fields, if that. So, for the most part, the homestays are very contained, and again, as Jesse said, to reiterate, we vet these families and have used them and loved them for years. So we're really lucky in that respect.
Absolutely. And it looks like we've got time for one more question again. If your question was not answered, never fear. We will get back to you via email. This is a question about safety, so fantastic question to end on. Very common question and very important question from all of our families. They asked if we do work with travel doctors. First part of your answer is that we have a partnership with ISOS, which is an organization that provides emergency evacuation as well as other medical assistance for all of our programs worldwide. It doesn't matter if you're in rural Mongolia or if you're going to be in the capital of a country. This is going to be, all students are mandatorily covered by ISOS insurance. And this will be something that you'll see on your invoice. It is a $69 charge, but we, as those who run the programs, have been so incredibly excited about this partnership that all of our students have that at their service. It also is a resource for you as parents. You will be given an access card and you will have access to their entire database of information, which includes where the closest clinics are, where the local hospitals, doctor information, all of that information, as well as any sort of travel warnings in that area. You will have access to that resource, which is a fantastic resource for planning your student's trip. All right, I think that's it. Maggie, do you have anything to add about ISOS? Just fantastic resource.
No, perfect. It's yeah, just I think such a great partnership that we've developed.
Awesome. And we can go much more into depth about our safety and risk management policies if you'd like. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a wonderful webinar. We have a few more questions here that we will send out via email. And again, if you would like to access this at another point, we have recorded this. This will be up on our website within the next couple of days. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you again for joining us. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks so much. Good night.